Hi, Gaye DeRusso with the Majestic rider. So today, a nice rainy cold day. So we always know that makes the horses more spunky and more alert. So when you're riding your horse, especially when you have a new one, you're always trying to wear off their energy. Most people go out from the barn very slow because a lot of people are nervous, and then the horse saves all that energy, and then the horse wants to come back a little bit fast. So what we want to do is, once we get through all the mucky stuff, is to actually start moving out some. Now, I'm not talking about galloping or cantering or racking really fast. What I'm just talking about is your flat walk, your foxtrot, your running walk, and your saddle gait, just your intermediate gaits, okay? Because if you start galloping or racking, you're going to bring their energy up. You're going to bring the excitement up. But if you do the other gaits, you're just going to wear off some energy, but you're not going to usually bring that energy way up. So there is a big difference with how fast you go out. So we're better now. So this is just this horse's flat walk, and we want him to kind of stretch and warm up, but we also want him to work off some energy. I can feel the cool wind coming in. Okay. So now, of course, you have to see what you can do. If it's too mucky, you might not even want to go out because you won't be able to go forward. So we'll see how far we make it if it gets too gross, because it did downpour pretty good last night. But our trails are sandy and sometimes they're okay. Okay, so you're trying to have them go out forward. Don't let them look around, because many horses want to look around and then they scare themselves. Remember, horses are horses, and horses tend to spook and be a little bit jumpy. Not all, but that's the natural nature of the horse. So you want to go out forward, make them pay attention to you so they're focused on you and not the other horses and other things, and try to, expend some of the nervous energy off, or if they've been bunching it up. Now, I did take this horse and I ran him in the arena. I didn't lunge him because it's slippery in there. So I just let him move about for about 5 minutes. And, if it wasn't muddy, I would have done it harder and longer. But I don't want him to slip either. So we'll just see. So again, this is where we have our tarps. If you're used to watching my videos, you know that. So you always sit back when you know things are coming up. Keep your hands wide, go forward, keep breathing, talk to your horse. You're okay, we got this, buddy, just keep going, okay? Now, if there's some deep sand, that's great, that wears your horse out. If there's a trail with hills that you can do, if the weather permits, it's not slippery or whatever, that's where you want to go when your horse is energetic. Deep sand, big hills, anywhere that's going to wear some of that horse's energy off naturally, where you can just ride it up there and let the footing and all of those things do their thing, okay? But if you're going on the flat, you might have to wear your horse out more in the arena, because the flat's not going to wear them out that much, okay? But still, you want to go forward. So he has a beautiful canter, but it is a little mucky, but he did just do a step of it. Each walking horse is different, so some of them, especially if they can trot when they're loose, will have a wonderful canter. Some that are pacing, the canter's much harder for them because they're much more lateral, so working them over poles and in deep footing and getting them to trot will help your horse to get a better canter, and it'll square up its gait. Okay, let's go up here. I try to choose the footing. Sometimes my choices are good and sometimes they aren't. That's with all of us. But your horse won't know, and sometimes they'll go right into a really muddy area. So if you can choose and one looks safer, you steer them where it's safer. Remember, the horse doesn't know what you want, so they just think, well, she wants to go straight, so I'll just go through this muck. Especially if it's a gelding. Because mares will just tell you, no, I'm not doing that. You're crazy. The gelding will be like, okay, I'll go through it. Oops, we're stuck. So there's good and bad things about mares and geldings. Okay? But mares usually have more self-preservation, just like mules do. Okay, so far he's doing good. And I should have put my rain pants on because the trees are getting me all wet. I have rain pants and I have a rain skirt. If you're riding in the rain, those are great things to have. I'm being very careful here. We're going through that narrow footing and it's pretty wet. Oh boy. This guy's pretty smart. But the rain pants and the rain skirt can be great. I just forgot to put mine on, and since it looked like it was done raining, that was another reason I forgot. Alright, so remember, ride out forward, and then you can come back slower, okay? But if you ride out slow, just know your horse is going to want to come back fast, especially if it always gets food and rest and friends at home. Okay. Now, if your horse is barn sour, I'm always telling everybody, tie your horse up at home, tie it up in its stall, leave its saddle on, and all those things. If you've been doing those things and they're not working, you do something else. So some of the horses that works with, and some of the horses, when I go back, I take them totally by themselves, like a patience pole somewhere by itself and not by other horses, and I tie them up there because, again, they're looking for comfort when they get home. So they're enjoying the other horses' companionship, and so sometimes when you tie them up and there's another horse nearby, they don't care at all and it doesn't get the point across. So you got to do something else. What would make it more uncomfortable? Oh, we went back, and when we go back you got to be all by yourself for a while. They're probably not going to like that, and the message is going to get, through their brain faster. At some of the places I've been to, I pick a tree far away where I can see it, and then I put an Aussie ring in that tree. It comes with one of those to bolt it in, and then I just watch them as I'm doing other work or I'm working another horse in the arena. I can see them, so I make sure they're safe, but they're all by themselves. Many will have temper tantrums in the beginning. They might rear up, they might paw, they might kick and do all sorts of stuff. Lots of people want to take them away when they're doing those things. You try to make sure they're okay, but many of them have to go through some temper tantrums. And then once they go through them, they don't do them anymore because they realize it's not getting them anything. But if they're over there pawing and being in goofball and you go and get them, that just rewards that bad behavior. Now, I tie them with the Aussie ring because if that way they get in trouble, my ropes will slide through and release them so they don't hurt their neck or anything like that. So if they pull back and loosen themselves, I'll just go back over and shorten it back up. But that way I'm sure the horse isn't going to get hurt. If you tie them and they're really pulling on that stuff, yes, they could hurt their neck and other things. And when a horse feels the release of pressure, it won't panic as much. Okay? So I recommend if you're going to do it with an Aussie ring or something similar to that releases some of the rope. And you have to use a rope that has some slickness to it so it will slide through it. Some of the ropes I've seen people have are just cotton thick braided ropes, and they won't slide through that Aussie ring. So you got to make sure your equipment does slide through it. Now, this horse has been on field trials, and that's great because that means the field trials go no matter what, because everybody's there. So they ride in bad weather. So they're used to going through water and mud and all sorts of things like that. And they're usually pretty sure-footed. Depends on the horse, but. So now that I got talking, I slowed down a little bit. So now I'm going to push him forward again. Now this is some deep stand right here, so this should wear him out pretty good. And that's good for your pacey horse. Make them pick up some speed. Where the footing's deep, it'll help separate their legs, which will condition them and build up the correct muscles for gait. Okay, with pacey horses, if they're really bad, I will go off the trail, I'll ride through bushes, I'll ride over rocks. And you hear everybody saying that stuff, but then you don't see anybody doing it. It does work, okay? Not everybody has poles. Poles work great too, but if you're just a trail rider, you're trying to find obstacles to go over to get that horse to pick up their feet and condition their right muscles. If you just let them pace, you're conditioning the pacing muscles, which are pretty much nothing, and the horse just swings its legs and goes down the trail, because horses are all about easy. Okay? They're not trying to make it harder on themselves. They do that by accident sometimes. But if you leave it up to them and they're smart, they're going to pick the easiest answer for them. That might even be run over you and get my cookies, or run into my stall because my hay's there. But if they learn the only way they get their cookies or get the hay is if they behave and respect you and stay out of your space, guess what? Then that'll be the easy answer for them. So always show them the right answer, because horses don't know right from wrong. They just learn what we teach them and what gives them relief and what gives them pleasure, such as food. Right? Most of them love food. Okay. So this is just a flat walk right now, because it was very mushy, so I don't want to go too fast. Now we're going a little bit more towards this running walk. So with your flat walk and your running walk, their head is going to go up and down, but it depends how much stride they have. If they have a fair amount of overstride, or they use themselves really well, they'll usually have more head shake. Some of them won't have as much. That's okay. It just depends what you like and the comfort. This looks very mucky, so let's go over here. When you have narrow spots and it's muddy in between and you can go around it, especially if you're not well balanced, it's better to go around it, because the horse can hit those sides and then they get stuck in there and they kind of wobble over. It's not their fault. They just lose their balance just like we do. I've walked through those things and tripped myself. So all right, so this is a nice muddy hill. Some horses are great in mud because, again, people row them in it. Other horses aren't. They have to learn. The only way for them to learn is somebody takes them through it, and then they learn how to get through mud. But so if your horse hates mud, it's usually nobody's taking them through mud. If they have to walk through mud every day, guess what? They won't care anymore. So that's what I do with horses who don't like mud or water. I just make mud and water. I make them go through it every day, so they just get used to it, that it's just a part of life. Most of the things you're trying to teach your horse, if you just start doing it daily and it becomes part of the routine, they don't care so much anymore. So that's why you're always trying to desensitize, find all their holes, and work on all your training to make it a better horse. Now you see they put some gravel stones out here. That does help if it gets muddy. Keeps the footing a little bit more together instead of so slippery. But see, he's rocking back and he's going slow. You don't want your horse flying down a hill like this. When it's muddy, it's better to walk stop if they don't know how to walk slow. So overall, it's pretty nice out here. I've been to, a different amount of boarding stables, because I don't own my own land. I can't afford it. And so when I'm looking at boarding stables, I'm always looking like, where can I ride and gate my horse? If the weather turns bad, do I still have a place to ride, like an indoor arena or gravel path? Is there stall access? And how hard is it to get to it? Because I have to take a lot of horses out on the trail, so I prefer one that I can get to some trails right from the barn, which I can from here. And then, how far is it to trailer to different places? Because that's important too if you're looking at a boarding stable. And then who you're going to ride with, that's also important. So all those things are very helpful. We just slid. If you slide, you stay as still as you can and let the horse figure it out without trying to throw them off balance. Okay. So let's just stop here and we'll eat some grass. So we're going to eat a little, well, he's going to eat some grass, not me. And then we'll go back. Okay. But you're always looking for those things to figure out, because you can get to a boarding stable and they don't let you ride in the arena when it's wet, so you can't ride for 3 days and you can't turn your horse out because it's wet, and they don't want you in that arena to lunge. And so then you have a kooky horse on day 4, and you got to be able to work that off, and a lot of times you can't. So if you have a place like that, you might want to invest into calming supplements, or see if there's somewhere gravel that you could do the sending exercise, but not do it so fast that the horse is falling, but work some energy off and try to do different things. Maybe even work the horse some in its stall. That's always good, especially for the barn sour ones. You can side pass them in the stall. You can, move their hindquarters and shoulders and do a little dance in there with them. So there are things you can do. You just have to motivate yourself to start doing some of those things. So he's quite good out here by himself. He's younger. He's 9. I still consider that young. So he still has energy. He's a great horse. But, he's not an old fuddy-duddy. And so he needs to get out and work. If this guy doesn't get out and work, like yesterday, he was a little spunky. A lot was going on at the barn, and I didn't get to run him. I lunged them, but they were all in there. So I only got like 5 minutes of time. Like, he didn't really get to move. So it took about, 10, 20 minutes for me to kind of work them down, and I just started going faster. Instead of trying to walk and do my circles and things of that nature, I just started going up to his running walk and trying to work that energy off. And then once I got rid of that energy, which I did, then he was back to his normal self, and then I went back to the routine. But if your horse is spunky, just holding it is not going to make it better. You got to get rid of that energy somehow. And you might be riding with people and you're like, I got to go. I can't ride with you guys, sorry. And you go off and ride some super steep hills or something to work that horse off and maybe meet up with them later. But no reason to ruin their ride by setting their horses off, because horses like to do bad things together. Now see him kind of look quick, so he's okay. But anytime they do something like that or they perk up, I shorten my reins to get ready in case something is coming. But you're trying to work their energy off to keep you safe, and so you got to figure out how to do that. And sometimes it's just you can't. There's too many people in the arena. The horse is acting up. It's best just to get off. Either work them from the ground if they're rearing up and being a spaz on the ground, or you just put them in their stall, tie them up there for a while with their saddle, go hang out with your friends for an hour, and then untack them, and tomorrow's another day. So when it's being dangerous, people always tell you, don't put them away, don't do this, don't do that. You got to keep yourself safe. There's only one of you. There's lots of horses. So you do what you can and you work on it, but there's always another day that you can work them much, much harder. And you wait until that day comes that you can work it off, and then that's when you start riding them. But all of you who have rain and winter seasons much worse than us, those horses get nuts on. By the time it comes spring, they're pretty crazy. And so it might take you several weeks to a month to get you that horse that you went into winter with. And it became another horse. So you want to put that time in. All right, so now we're going to go. So remember, I let them graze here. Now as they walk off, if they walk off fast, see you went a little fast? So I'm going to serpentine and I'm going to half halt. So I'm going to squeeze, relax, breathe. Squeeze, relax, breathe. Because you got to breathe and keep your body relaxed. If they get nervous and you get amped up, guess what? They get amped up too, because they're following your energy. So no leg on the way back. And yes, you can use your legs when you half halt, but not when your horse is headed back towards the barn or if it's spunky. And we just slid a little bit there. Okay. Now if you're going down the hill, you can half halt down the hill, you can walk, stop, but when it's muddy, sometimes they will just slide and they can't stop. So you just want to go and don't turn them sideways, because you can make them lose their balance that way. Wait till they get to the bottom and then you can work on it. Sometimes you just got to ride parts of it out, but keep breathing. Don't hold your breath. Breathing makes a huge difference on your ride. You got to keep your body as relaxed as you can. We're always trying to do the opposite of what our brains usually are telling us, like be scared, and you're like, no, don't be scared. So you want to breathe, you want to half halt. So see, he just picked up the speed here. The more you hold, the more they'll pull back on you. So you squeeze, hold it for a couple seconds, then release it. And I'm only releasing a little. I'm not opening my fingers way up. So I'm making them very tight. Hold, 1, 2, 3. Now I released them about a centimeter. Now I'm going to hold again. Now I'm going to release again. Okay? Now, if they're bad, you can always get off and walk them, but your groundwork has to be good so they stay out of your space. So when I'm heading back, I try not to gate too much. That red bush just scared me. I thought that was See? People get scared just like the horses do. But you don't want to, you're trying not to run back to the barn, especially when it's muddy out. But they do, when they turn towards home, they think, oh, home, just like you do at work. You're like, oh, I'm done with work. Let's get out of here. Jump in the car. Vroom, vroom, off we go. So it's the same with the horse. But again, if every time they get home, it's not so fun, you slipped again in the mud, and it'll start to change. But it takes time then. It takes horses many, many repetitions, okay? So depending on how smart your horse is, and we might slide down this, depends how, you know, quickly they get it. So you sit back, you try to half halt. He's going a little sideways, but he's balancing himself. Now he's really sliding, so I'm not doing much at all except trying to sit still. It's all him. Okay, now I'm at the bottom, so now half halt release, half halt release, half halt release. You might have to pull pretty hard. But when I was going down that hill, I couldn't do much at all because he couldn't slow himself down. All he could do was try to balance himself and balance me. And that's what I needed him to do to keep us safe. So you can't really micromanage in spots like that. Easy. So see, he got a little bit faster, but I don't want him going faster home. Good boy. Good job. Now when you go to buy a horse, you know, because I was talking about boarding stables where you're going to ride, one of the questions you should ask, and you might see it if a seller has videos, is where did they ride that horse from? Did they ride it from home, or did they always trailer it out? Because that makes a difference for you. If you're going to ride from the barn, you want to know that that horse has been ridden okay with it, because some horses that trailer out all the time and never are ridden from the barn are barn sour. It's just nobody knows it because you trailer them out and they're fine. And I've had trainers try to sell my clients horses, and you know, we take it and I try it and the horse is ballistic, and I go, well, did you ever ride this horse from home? And they go, no, we always trailer out. And I go, makes sense. So you want to make sure, and if you're going to trailer out the whole time, well, you want a horse that's been trailering out, because if you buy one that's just been ridden from home, it might not trailer very well. It might be nervous on all those different trails because it's not used to it. It's just used to that one trail at its place. And horses get used to things they do every day. So when you try a horse and you try it at a home that it's been at for 5 years, it should be pretty spectacular on those trails. And then when you get it home and you go on your trails, it might not be good at all. It's just got to get used to it. And that can take some time and some years. Okay, I'm going to let him pick where he's going right here. We're sliding again. So he did very good picking down the hill. Okay. Some horses are not very good at picking, and they're not very sure-footed. The only way you know is to try them. So if you have very rocky, difficult terrain, it's best you go try the horse or see it on that terrain, because some are not so sure-footed. Some of these walking horses can be like spiders. They can get themselves out of everything and walk over everything and step in a hole and never miss a step. And other ones can hardly walk without tripping and falling on their face. So they're all different, and they're all bred for different things. You know, if they're bred for trail, they should be good on the trail. But if they're bred for the show ring, they might not be so sure-footed, because it's a total different footing. You got to know those things when you're looking at horses and trying them, is try to imitate what you're doing. What else can we tell you? Oh, so just because a horse is great in the arena does not mean it will be good on the trail. Many aren't. So horses, if they're ridden in the arena all the time, are usually going to be pretty calm and mellow in there. But if they're not ridden on the trail much, they're not going to be very calm and mellow out there. And then also the opposite, if somebody rides the horse only on trail and hardly ever goes in the arena, the horse might be a complete idiot in the arena because it's not used to other horses lunging or jumping and doing stuff. But it's great on the trail. It's good with deer, cows, goats, all those things. So depending where you're going to ride it, that's where you want to try the horse. So if you're an arena rider, you try it in the arena. If it's bad, you don't get it. If you're a trail rider, you try it on the trail. If it's bad, you don't get it. So just remember, when you're testing, if you're a trail rider and you start in the arena and it's bad, don't let that upset you, because again, it just might not be used to it. So take it around the barn and see how it does, and if it's safe and calm, you know, then you can go on the trail. But I see so many people try them in the arena, and the sellers don't have videos of anything else, and then they get the horse and they're like, it's horrible on the trail. And I ask them to send me the videos, and I go, well, look, there's no videos of the trail. What made you think it was good on the trail? Just because they said so? They go, yeah. I go, well, either they didn't know or they lied, or who knows. Maybe it was good before they got it, and then they never took it on trail, so they didn't know anymore. That's up to you. You got to figure those things out. Yes. So now you see he's pretty good. I'm not really half halting anymore, but I didn't speed him up. I'm trying to keep him pretty mellow going home, and then when we get home, we'll do some more work. But that's what you're trying to do with all the horses, is make home not such a great place to be, but you got to figure out what would do that for that horse. And we can give you ideas, all the trainers that are on the internet, we can offer some advice, but unless we see it or we know your horse, you might not know exactly. But you should, because you probably know your horse really well. You're like, he hates flags. I'm like, oh, why don't you take him back to the barn and tie him somewhere and then put flags around him? Bet you won't like that. Good boy. And then in time, he'll probably get desensitized to flags, and you can pick something else he doesn't like, and then you cured one of his problems as well. Now, other things you can do if they're going a little fast, but you're in narrow places besides half halting, you can slide the bit, but slide it a little quick. Like, you'll put on the left rein or half halt on your rein with your fingers, then pull right, then pull left, then pull right, and just make it a little uncomfortable. I have to concentrate. Okay. A lot of times they'll speed up through those things because they're trying not to slip if it's wet. So you just slide the bit, like right, left, and then release for a couple of seconds, and then do it again. Right, left, then leave them alone. You always got to release. Don't just keep pulling, because horses like to pull on pressure and push into pressure. That's natural for them. So you're trying to teach them to give, which we already taught them in the arena and all that, and then you use it. Okay, we got step downs. Easy. So see, he can do these a little fast, but we don't want him to, because that's not as safe for us. So you keep half halting and sitting back. This footing is really bad, and you'll see he got a little fast through it, but he got us out of it. And he's not running or anything, but we gotta half halt and go a little slower. So I don't expect most people to ride in the mud and do the things I'm doing, but I'm always testing the horses to see how they do in different situations, to try to, you know, find people that can handle who the horse is and work with it to get a match. Horses are a lot more, I would say, tolerant to us than we are of them. A horse will pretty much go home with anybody as long as they feed them and they give them some, you know, food, water, and they feel safe with them. The horse is pretty happy. They don't care what color you are. They don't care if you're a man, a woman, or in between. They don't care. It's getting windy and all the scarecrows are blowing behind us. So he's going a little fast. You don't let that make you nervous. It's okay. Okay? Because you're almost home and then you'll go to work. But they don't care. They'll try to work it out with that person, but you know, if they don't understand you, then they're probably going to get worse or take over, because that's the nature of the horse. If you're not in charge, I'll be in charge. And you sit back when you come around these turns, because a lot of times I spook all these horses and then they all go running, and then they sometimes spook the horse you're on, because they're all spooking each other. right? That's another thing horses do. So, but people, when we're looking for horses, people, oh my goodness, you have the biggest list I've ever seen. You sent me a list and I was like, I can't even believe you wrote that many things down. Because they're looking for perfection, and a horse is not. And they're looking for an owner. They're like, food, water, safety, I'm good, let's go, let's give it a good try. And the person's like, I want it to be black, 14.1 hands, 6 years old, totally calm, never spooks, no medical issues, no conformational defects. He needs to have perfect hooves because I'm going to ride him barefoot on the rocks. And if he needs boots, I'm not going to buy them because I need him to be perfect. And no, I don't want any white because I don't want him to get dirty. And he's got to be able to live alone at my house. I know they're herd animals, but no, I want him to live alone because I don't want to get him any friends, and my neighbors don't have any horses. And geez, there is a boarding stable 10 minutes down the road, but I don't want to go there because, yeah, that would be a pain. I want to have them at my house. So they want all these crazy things that are not natural for the horse. Now we're going to ride around the barn. And we'll practice our leg heel, so we'll practice our arena work because our arena's a mess. But people want all these things, and the horses just want 3 things, okay? It's hard, and I know everybody, you know, you got your money and you want that pretty picture of what the horse is, but every horse is going to have issues, no matter how perfect it is. And I always worry about the ones that are way too perfect that I can't even find anything wrong with, because I'm like, is it going to colic and die tomorrow? Because something's going to go wrong, okay? Everything's got to even out. Now it's raining on us. So you got to know it's not going to be perfect. And when you pick that perfect horse, this is another one people do. They buy a 6-year-old horse. It's the perfect size. Well, guess what? 6-year-old horses with gaited horses tend to still grow. And gaited horses grow late. They grow up, and then they keep growing up just a little, and then they grow out. So the horse is kind of lanky or awkward. It's definitely going to grow more. We're going by a tarp over there, blowing. If it's more compact, it might not grow as much, but it still grows. So the other day I talked to a lady, and she bought a horse, and it was good size. It was 14 hands, and when it was done growing, it was 15 too. She wanted a 14 hand horse, so of course they want to sell it because it's too big. So you either have to get an older horse, like age 9 and up, that's 14 hands, or if you want a 14 hand horse and it's young, you got to get something that's more like 13 hands, so in case it grows. Maybe we'll just go stand in the cross tie. He's like, whatever you want to do. So you gotta remember, nothing's perfect. If I was you, I would not look for color. I know all of you want to look for color, right? We've all done it in the beginning, and then all the horse people are like, don't look for color, just look for safety. I'd look for a safe horse with a good willing temperament that has a fair amount of training and experience on it. Of course, the older ones should have more experience than the younger ones. And one that has a smooth gait that, you know, doesn't bother have problems with, and that would be it. I wouldn't care so much if it was a gelding or a mare, unless you got to put it in a pasture with other geldings or mares and they only take one or the other. But if it's mare, you want to check it when it's in heat and know if it's moody and all those things, but some geldings can be moody as well. So. But that would be my list. And then it's much easier to find you a horse. But when you call me up and you're like, I want a chestnut with a flaxen mane, barefoot, no medical issues, no lumps or bumps, smooth gaited, anybody can ride, even a beginner, but really fast when I want to go fast. And I'm like, I can't help you because I'm not going to. There's no horse like that. Okay? Now there might be, I just don't have it. But I'm like, this person's being unrealistic. And we're not going to have a beginner horse that everybody can ride that's super fast as well, because the beginner will hit it by accident, and then that horse is going to go cuckoo. So just know I'm pretty honest and other people aren't, so I'll be like, no, I don't have it, and I think your list is way too long and you need to be more serious. And someone else would just tell you, yeah, we got the horse, send us a check, we'll send you the horse, and off they do because you believed them, but they were not telling the truth. Now you got a horse either 3 legs, club foot, something's wrong with it, maybe it's cuckoo. Okay, so let's go in the cross tie for a minute, see if this blows over or not. Right, you can ride your horse anywhere. You just duck your head. Let's go in here. See, horses don't think you're going to ride them in all these things. Why not? Let's go over here. Hi, Ringo. Let's just stand here for a minute. So you could work on things like putting their head down while they're standing here, or maybe just stand still and sit on your horse. Chit-chat with your friends. Right? So look at cute Ringo. You're so cute. That horse is the cutest. Great horse. I thought this might entertain you. I'm in here side passing this horse, and because it's raining. And here's Ringo. Ringo, where are you? You're a little close. You're a little close. He's like a dog. You're a little close. Right? He just likes to play. You just like to play. Look at your big teeth. Look at your big teeth. Look at your big teeth. Good boy. So let's side pass this guy over. Over. This guy didn't know how to side pass, and now I'm side passing him in the cross ties. Because why not? Good boy. Well, now he went over. Good boy. Many of them don't want to be next to things because nobody side passed him and taught him these things. Right? Hi, little guy. What are you doing? You're a funny guy. Yes, you are. Sometimes I just throw treats at them so they use their nose and they're not afraid of things being thrown at them. Oops, that one missed. Oh. Here. Oops, that one went in the water. You see? They use their nose. So, helps them to do something they normally do in nature, and sometimes we don't do it here. He's like, where'd the other one go? So remember, it's raining. You can ride in the cross ties if it's not a boarding stable. Go boy. This is enough room. I could do a turn on the forehand. Might squish some worms. A couple more times. And I can't put my phone out for you to see me because it'll get wet. You're almost there. Come on, one more step. He's like, you're so picky. Good job. Good job, buddy. Yeah, eat the blanket. No, I guess sooner or later we'll get off because it's just raining. Over. See your friend Ringo. You've had enough treats. No, you've had enough. That's it. No more. No more. Yes. You're a funny guy. All right. Well, that's it for today. I think I talked your ear off. Hope you learned something, and good luck with coming into spring and being safe.